Go ahead, Terrace.
I'm going ahead. It has begun. Judgment Day is upon us, gentlemen and singular lady. Yeah, we've got 4 people, 2 stories each, and we have three prizes, getting an increasingly higher in value the better you score.
Number 1 prize is a date with Terrace.
Oh no.
I didn't even look at chat. I like
you just got a choice between the actual prize or a date. You get a date coupon.
Oh no. I will
Anyway.
obviously, yeah, that's something to add. Both me and Sock. Let me
I
try
also have something to add. Egg is having a stroke, so he's being replaced.
Both me and Skytis are sick at the moment, so Terrace is going to do the majority of the talk.
And I am sick of their shit. Anyway.
Yeah.
Speaking of being sick of their shit, I would like to apologize, not for my own failure or stupidity, but for Egg's absolute utter incompetence. I got sent some files and they said EurasianRob. So it was not my own incompetence, but it was 100% on Egg that I had your name wrong.
That wasn't me that named that.
Oh, well, I guess we're throwing someone else under the bus. You know what? I don't care. It wasn't me. I'm innocent. That's all.
Yeah, you sure are, yeah.
Just blame Rob. His name is so confusing. It's so strangely confusing to spell that I get it wrong half the time anyway.
Yeah, there we go. Play Terrace.
It's like, I mean, I think at this point it's just like a running meme. You would back when we still did podcast things, he'd message me at least like once every 2 episodes and go, my name is spelled wrong again. So it's fine. He's used to it.
He doesn't want to date anymore.
You know what? That's understandable. I wouldn't want to date with me either.
Yeah.
Anyway, so competition things. We're gonna listen to them all, and just like before, we're gonna say our thoughts, the favorite things we like and dislike about them, and all that good stuff. And then after we've listened to all of them, we're gonna put you guys on hold and leave you some elevator music in the background, and then we're going to in private have a lengthy-ish discussion with how we're gonna who gets what place, and then we're gonna come back and then we're gonna shatter someone's dreams. That's probably what's gonna happen.
It's just the one person though.
Just the one person. Yeah, we're gonna disappoint a few people. You can't please everyone. It's like that kind of the point of a competition. You're not supposed to please everyone. not everyone can be a
No,
winner.
only Terrace will be pleased if the date goes well.
We don't hand out participation trophies. We are all about, winners and shit.
Although, speaking of which, we're handing out a participation trophy. Everyone who reaches this round is going to get a roll on the server regardless. Anyway, carry on.
Question.
Yeah, go on.
Do I get a participation trophy?
I mean, you technically participated. You can have a roll if it makes you feel better.
I mean, I then I can claim, yeah, I once was part of a voice acting competition.
Yeah, I mean, technically you were. Yeah, I mean, not in a like, normal sense that one might imagine, but yeah, you were. Yeah.
Yeah, I suppose. Yeah.
Yeah.
You're part of it. Are you?
Yeah, you definitely are. You're kind of a key part of it, to be fair as well.
Yeah. I suppose. Yeah. Well, anyway, before we lose too many more viewers, because I have started falling away already. I'm just fucking rambling.
Yeah, I guess we should start.
Oh yeah.
So who we got first?
First of all, do we have an order in which we three are giving our thoughts?
Well, no, I mean we're doing one at a time and then give thoughts after each one.
No,
we do them in order they were submitted.
No, I mean who of us goes first with their thoughts?
Whoever wrote the story, and then Skytus, and then the third person.
I had the idea to not have the person who wrote the story, just so they don't influence the other people.
Actually, you know what? That's actually, I guess, do that.
Yeah, right. Yeah, let's do that.
That might be a good idea, but once we've done each story once and the author has given their thoughts, the influence is already there, I guess. The author has already told us how they envisioned the story, so that might even be sort of unfair for the others.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I suppose, yeah. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, it makes sense, yeah.
We're obviously talking about that later, but should we, let's say...
let's go in order.
Yeah, let's go in order they were submitted.
Then we can also then laugh at that one person who submitted, like, really, really, really late.
It's fine.
I mean,
right.
I set up the order that you sent me them in, Egg. So.
Oh, are they in? Are they already queued up?
It doesn't. I mean, they don't have to be in that order. You can just click whichever one you want to play.
No, but I.
No.
Egg, you can see I did work here. I prepared.
Yeah, you did. Yeah. I suppose it doesn't really matter. Well,
so who's first?
I guess last on the bus, first off the bus.
More like first under the bus.
Oh no, let's not throw her under the bus.
All right, so.
Right, yeah.
Who submitted first then?
Well, the first person to do the submission was Mr. Midnight.
Alright then.
It's this one.
Yeah.
Alright, I'm just gonna mute myself.
Yep.
Yeah, same.
Testing, 1, 2, 1, 2. Despair. Ah, what woe befalls me on this day. For one such as me, this turn of events was wholly unacceptable. Disastrous, disgusting, heart-wrenchingly painful. The cutlery before me was aligned perfectly, one by one, shining like the moon upon a pool of deathly still water, reflecting my wretched visage upon mine eyes. How could one such as me bear such an insult? For such poorly prepared food to be placed in my vicinity, for it to be suggested even in jest that I eat such filth, it fills me with vitriol and hatred, seething, fiery, righteous anger. I watched as the cook approached, along with the waiter that dared to cross my plate, with the poison that disgraced my table. They trembled there, uncouth, imbecile. Sacks of flesh, reduced to no more than their most primal instincts, survival and fear. I produced a cruelly hooked but utterly beautiful blade of polished gold with a gentle flourish that befitted my situation. The grim yellow surface, stained in an eerie red from years of use, was, of course, my true symbol of station as head of the Bastarash family. The implement of punishment used to teach those below me their place in society. I pointed to the ground, invoking an unwritten law known among all servants of Bastarash. Kneel and silently beg for forgiveness. The cook immediately dropped and hung his head in silent prayer to whatever deity that he held dear. Despite his years of loyal service to the household, this single mistake was grave enough for him to understand what may yet befall him. The waiter, on the other hand, had a moment of confusion, as if not genuinely comprehending the gravity of the situation he found himself in. He slowly sank to his knees, copying the cook, and then proceeded to break the one taboo of the position of forgiveness. He spoke aloud with the filthy mouth to me. "Sir, such an affront of mine persons could not be allowed to go unchecked. I slowly slipped on my white gloves, so not to mar my delicate and well-groomed hands, then proceeded to firmly grab his lower jaw and wrench it open. In a moment of panic, the boy became deathly still, as if realizing his mistake. His eyes were wild like that of a wild animal caught in a snare, not understanding either its situation or station in life, destined to become an amusement for the superior hunters on the trail. In one swift, clean motion, I grabbed his tongue, inserted the curved blade, and sliced it off at the base. The young fool pitched over. Screams, mixed with the sound of blood being choked on, I watched over him in silent judgment, while holding the erstwhile tongue in my hand, having absolved him of his sin. The Bastarash shall not tolerate impudence. Thank you. I would like to start by saying I know that I have in fact butchered some of the words, but this was probably the best take that I can make with the equipment that I have, and so hopefully I haven't listened to it yet. This isn't, but I wanted to say any lip smacking or anything like that, as I told Egg, was purposeful. My breathing, my I don't know how to describe it, my wetness of my mouth, that was all purposeful. I understand last time I did in fact get credited against it, and to be fair, I am not a professional voice actor. However, that was intentional. The background noise was intentional. I will say, it wasn't without fault. The words that I said, that was completely my fault. I misread things, and I thought that I said the take too well, but yeah, I know I'm getting marked down points. But basically, don't know what else to add. There's a slight whistle, and I know I switched. I tried to stop my whistle, which kind of changed or shifted the voice just a little bit. Part of that was purposeful, part of that was not. Again, I haven't listened to it, so I don't know how it sounds just yet. But I hope you enjoy, and I hope I did well in your eyes. Yeah. May the eye in radio's hand guide you all. I had to throw in a little thing as conspiracist, but I digress. Have a good day.
Okay. Right. Thanks, Mr. Midnight. I'd certainly say the two and a something minute bit at the end was not necessary. You could have just written that, like, just in text, like sent it when you were submitting it. That would have made I think definitely me a little less upset, but well.
Egg.
Oh, we're not doing the Scottish sandwich.
I mean, we can do this. Yeah. I'll also say that as much as you're mentioning the things were intentional, like, fair enough. I'm not going to argue whether or not they were, but the one thing definitely wasn't intentional was the blowing into the microphone. Like that's not. You can at least point away from the microphone, get a pop filter or something. That would have made it a little bit better. Few random pauses, few words. Pretty sure we're not exact. Which you mentioned that they weren't. But let me introduce to you the magic of audio editing, where you can splice multiple recordings into one recording. It doesn't have to be recorded in one long continuous take. So that would have probably made it a little better. But it was. I'd say this was definitely better than your first submission, though. I think it was definitely better done. Guys.
Okay. Yeah. Obviously, the omitted words were. I mean, he mentioned it himself, but they didn't really. It did not completely ruin it. It took out a little of the emphasis of some of the things that were being said, but it's not like it completely changed the meaning or anything. So it's not too bad, but as Terrace has said, you could have definitely relatively easily gone back and fixed that. I did very much like the extra occasional R rolling. Like, you weren't doing it consistently, not on every single R, which would have probably annoyed me very quickly, but I especially noticed it when you said heart-wrenchingly. There it was very noticeable, but it makes sense there to put that extra emphasis on it, so I really liked that. I did notice, I assume that was in the recording, at one point it sounded like there was a little jump, so probably like you cut two separate recordings together. But maybe there was a technical thing on my end. Maybe somebody else also noticed it. It was, I believe, in the sentence, despite his years of loyal service. It sounded a little weird. But maybe I'm just crazy.
Yeah, maybe you're just going mad.
I felt like there was maybe too little emotion, especially in the paragraph that begins here. He spoke aloud with his filthy mouth. I would have just expected him to be more angry at this insult. he was like you were reading this very calmly, at least compared to what I was expecting. And finally, I feel like the speed was a little too, I guess, inconsistent. Like the first few paragraphs were pretty slow, and then you started reading a little faster. Like if you pick either one to achieve a certain goal, like either you really want to put emphasis on every single word, or you want to read faster, that's fine. But I felt like that was a little, I guess, random. So you could try to focus a little more on that later, but I don't think I have anything else to really criticize.
Okay, so I'll go.
That egg boy himself.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, obviously, you've already touched on the technical side of things. There's a few missed words. There's a few words that I think I noticed one word that was added near the end. Nothing like too bad. There was added a little bit of repetition in where there shouldn't have been, but it's negligible, honestly. I mean, obviously, I did say in the brief for this one to sort of double check, go over, listen to what you're doing, look at the scripts at the same time. But we'll go over that later. The tone was pretty good. I think you actually understood the brief quite well for this one, to be honest. It's supposed to be cold and calculating, and the piece is really supposed to evoke this idea of someone who believes he's above everybody else, and the slightest thing by a quote-unquote commoner evokes this taste, this disgust. But what you seem to have actually correctly picked up on here is that he has his own special set of gloves for dishing out his punishments. He has his own special knife for it. He has this air of, how do I say, discontent. He's not. This isn't an uncommon thing. Like, obviously, he has to dish out these punishments on a regular basis. So, I think actually the lack of emotion, just the cool, calm, almost archival way of saying it, as if he's just recording, I've had a really awful day, I had to cut someone's tongue out, when will they learn? That kind of thing. But yeah, I actually really liked it. I liked how that was going to. I like the slight pickup of pace as it goes through, because it shows this contrast between trying to be cold and emotionless, but there's still a little bit slips through. It doesn't matter how cold you try to be. It's never. You're never going to be in this state where it's you're never going to show any emotion. So anyway, I don't know. I mean, overall, really, really nice reading. Yeah, I say we'll. I mean, obviously, some of the mistakes will come in later. Obviously, there was a point somewhere in the middle as well. I think Scott has mentioned this, but I might have heard it at a different point as well, where it feels like you tripped up mid-sentence and then carried on.
Yeah.
But yeah, other than that, it wasn't too bad. Yeah, like I say, the whole reason I put in I should probably mention this to anybody else who's watching who wasn't competing as well. I also put in the brief, tell me any post-production you've done. And I mean, obviously, most people wrote it out. They didn't put 2.5 minutes of it at the end of their submission. But yeah, for the most part, yeah, whatever. And we were already joking about that. We're not going to mark you down for putting your little ramble at the end of it. It was kind of unnecessary, but it doesn't change the actual piece we submitted. Still, please put it in writing next time. Yeah, right. So should we move on to Terrace's piece?
Yeah.
I'm going to mute myself.
All right. Yep. Second story. Let's go.
Story 2. Craig. Broken Mind by Terrace. I will look upon the one that is what you wanted me to find. The eye, like I asked you. Don't you see that in front of you is your back to the door? It was your idea, after all that has happened. I wish upon a star in the sky, down below the basement he hides. I know that now. My eye bleeds from the ash of what once was, but could never have been this close to her end. Why can't you understand that darkness was and never is looking behind you, and not once did you think to speak to you tomorrow? Just don't be late, or you'll miss me for all these years. Old she was, and it was beautiful. Cracked marble on my face towards you when you speak to you like I have known all my life. I have been searching for the true meaning behind your space, where you stand tall like the trees which call you at night, and tell me to walk a path which leads you to understand what I mean, even though I told you I don't think you wanted to close them, but I did, and now, pain? I walk among people who can see. I told this would happen, but you didn't listen to the birds as they fly trapped in a spider web of my mind, separate yet open to those who made me. This could have gone differently from the way you look, but it's hard to explain to me what the problem is. Or do I need to come, and where are you? There are more who see that I once imagined a life quite like this is the end of the road for him, and if he decides to keep going, or I will go without you, must follow. The figures call, but I ignore the one who thinks this is a good idea, but I suppose there have been worse. Once I get there, I will ask the reason why I asked you to come with me is pretty clear. I'd imagine you, but if you are standing and not walking, then you mustn't close your eyes, for there's no sanity left at the crossroad, and right behind the oak tree, and another left at the end of my life, will you? Such tall, towering, yet they grow as 1, 2, 3. See? I am still sane. Why? Numbers are the way to comprehend the true value of this situation, but only if they choose you to see, for they can't, and as one walks, the others stand behind me so they don't see you, as you were not chosen at randomly reminded of Craig. My name has been so close to the path, but not yet on it, but rather lost altogether, or as one, but then it asks me to stay and see for what might want to come. Sleeping inside as they wait to make sure that your eyes shine in the moonlight. It is so bright tonight, with stars aplenty as cities so far. I don't know why I'm here, but I know that I must stay, for if they come, some have to see, for if not, others will not, and it might awake, which the 3 can't stop what you are doing and look me in the eyes and tell me you will stay and help them protect. Others also see, but more if you want to make sure that this stays here with us and not escape into your soul, as they believe that it was his fault. but now trapped and bright as the sky which shines and reflects the white bones of those who no longer see what they have become, but the job they did until you came to replace what is lost among the trees. And maybe, just maybe, you'll find a way out of this, is what I told you, but you didn't listen, your ears closed. Can you hear me? Eternity, so short during my life, as one of them will decide if I live. They didn't know we could blink, and it disappeared, for I must face the consequence or run out of ideas at this point. If only she didn't bent into temptation for one's curious mind. Inside it lays the answer, but so deep within that even they couldn't know that I know. But if I tell me what bothers you, friend, I'm telling you how they will react to it. But he didn't want to. Too scared of his own lack of one and seeing too many. Please help me. Thank you. I hope that was a good recording.
Right. I'm going to go first for this one, so that's what we decided. So, I feel I should say here, what Terrace has done is essentially the voice acting equivalent of beating these poor people with a stick. This script is obviously, as you can probably tell, completely and utterly batshit insane. Now, taking that into account, I will say there's two things. I think about halfway through this, it sounds like he just completely and utterly lost the plot, which, I mean, it's fitting, but equally, it starts getting a little bit flaky. And, I mean, this is just a... I can't contain his laughter. No. Anyway, being serious, one thing I will point out, and obviously I didn't write this, but in my mind, I feel like you read this way too calmly. Like, there's some aspect of this that it worked for the last one, but for this, not so much. One thing I did say, once again, I know I'm going back to the brief again, but I've obviously mentioned this a few times. Between us, we picked these two because they were about as opposite to one another as they could possibly be. They were supposed to be very, very, very different scripts to read. And, I mean, I can't really comment on how it was intended. I mean, Terrace obviously did that in a bit, but yeah. Obviously, there were some missed words, some added words, some confusion over the way things are said, some sentences that were said around the wrong way. There was a whole sentence skipped at the beginning. I can understand the confusion, but equally there's a lot of gaps. So I don't know. Yeah, other than that, not really much else to say. It was enjoyable to listen to. But yeah, I'll pass on to Skysis.
Okay, I'm not gonna repeat what Egg has already said because that's just redundant. I feel like the pauses, especially in the first half or so, made him seem less deranged and crazy than I thought he was when I read this. Also, just to be clear, so all of my judgment on this is going to be very sparse because, as Terrace knows, I don't like Craig. So, for those of you unaware, I basically did some proofreading on their writing, and
we've got a Craigophobe over here.
And when it came to Craig stuff, I just hated reading it because it is obviously just. It is not proper English, just sort of jumping from thought to thought, which I understand as a stylistic element. It is just genuinely uncomfortable for me to read. So I may be a little biased to watch that. So I'm just gonna say that right now. So everybody, when I judge your reading of this story, just know that I hate Craig. But as I said, I feel like there should have been less pauses. It's almost like when there's two sentences blended into one, I feel like it should just be more of a smooth transition because he's just going from one thought to the other without even stopping. And to him, it just makes sense because he's crazy. But it was more like, okay, here's one thought that's like 90% finished, and then just a short pause, and then the second thought continues or takes over rather. I feel like those pauses made it a little weirder. And also, I feel like just overall, it should have sounded like more confident, especially because he says, "I'm not crazy." Like he should just be consistently like, "Yeah, I'm saying these things or thinking these out loud or however." And yep, that makes sense to me, even though obviously it is crazy. But I feel like there was some lack of confidence in the character, not in you as a voice actor, but just in the character you portrayed with your voice. And everything else, nope, Egg already said that. So, Terrace?
Well, I'll say you hit the nail on the head with the pauses. The pauses very much are not supposed to have been there. The whole idea of it being like just a continuous string of conscious thought is very accurate. I will also say that Mr. Midnight is the only person out of the four not to message me asking me what the fuck. The other three people messaged me and then one way or another essentially said, "Excuse me, what the fuck?"
So
and then I gave them a brief description of what Craig is actually like, and Mr. Midnight's the only person that hasn't actually reached out and asked me anything to do. He just went for it.
So that means we can conclude Mr. Midnight is also crazy?
Probably, yeah. So just to give you some background for the character of Craig. Craig is he's very intelligent and he's very sort of calculated and he's got like the OCD and all sorts of other things. He's very sort of he likes things a very specific way and likes things in order. And his mind is obviously shattered. And the reason it's shattered means that there should have been a bit more excitement or fear or something else in the voice rather than just like a continuous monotone reading. Like this isn't meant to be overly emotional, but there is supposed to be like elements where he gets a bit, like bit more excited and reads things faster, and then he slows down and gets quieter because he's in fear and stuff like that. Because again, his mind is just jumping from thing to thing constantly, so that should also be like a constantly changing tone, but also like it should be like a continuous string of words with much pauses. Which I think Mr. Midnight done it better in the later part of it. I think the beginning especially had a lot of pauses. And in the later bit it was a bit more continuous, which was a bit better. But I mean overall it was alright. It would have probably been a little better if the random words weren't added or taken away. But at the same time, I don't think you'd even notice, apart from the fact there's a whole sentence gone. Occasional words being added or taken in this context don't really take that much away from the story, I guess. Although, again, you probably should have read through it, even though it is a mess. And, yeah.
One thing I'm going to jump in and say here is a lot of what we've said for this submission is going to be relevant to future ones as well when it comes to just discussing the tone of the story. So, for the most part, we'll just skip over those to some extent. Obviously, we'll probably have to mention it in regards to how certain things were done, but we're not going to give long, winding explanations because this has already gone on like a long time just for the ones I mentioned.
Yeah.
But yeah.
I think Mr. Midnight just took the acting too serious and started becoming crazy. That's why he omitted some things. He became Craig.
He's lost the fucking plot.
All right, who was second?
That's a good question. Well,
If we are ready to move on.
I do believe we are.
I'm gonna take a very short 5-minute break while you guys figure out who's next.
I believe.
Hey, Egg, you're smart, right? How would you take a short 5-minute break? Like 5 minutes.
You just don't take a long one.
Yeah. How would you take a long 5-minute break then?
You don't take a short 5-minute break.
All right. And how do you take a short 5-minute break?
By not taking a long 5-minute break.
Okay. And how do you take a long 5-minute break?
By not taking a medium 5-minute break.
How do you take a medium 5-minute break?
By not taking a long or short 5-minute break.
Okay. How would you take either a long or a short 5-minute break?
By taking a medium 5-minute break.
Okay. But how would you take a medium 5-minute break?
By taking a long 5-minute break.
Okay. But how would you take a long 5-minute break?
By taking a short 5-minute break.
Okay. But how would you take a short 5-minute break?
By taking a 5-minute break.
Okay. But how?
By just breaking for 5 minutes. And you glue yourself back together.
Oh, thank God he's back. Sorry, we just did some improv craiging.
Wow, that's really cool.
So, the next submission time was very, very close. Submitting 6 minutes before Rob in the theatre.
Oh.
Almost uncanny how the messages were sent almost exactly the same time.
I don't know if he's messaged you as well, but he's messaged me with the list of his things he did. Like he just messaged me. Says,
no, he hasn't. He sent the MP3s to me and sent the list of things to you.
Well, I'll send a list of things to you. That's he's done it in a strange order, but yeah, I'll just DM you the message he literally just sent me.
Oh right, okay.
He literally just sent me. He's like, oh yeah, I forgot to mention it. Here you go. So yeah.
Oh yeah, that's fine. Yeah.
I think he's also in chat in the stream, vigorously listening. So.
Oh right, yeah.
Cracks knuckles, you know.
Yeah, the list of like post-production stuff is purely for us judging later on. It's not really something we'll be commenting on like midstream. So unless it's like there's some kind of bone of contention where we're like, is this supposed to be here? Yeah, sure. Yeah, right. Yeah. So Theodore it is.
Let's go.
Despair. Ah, what woes befalls me on this day. For one such as me, this turn of events was wholly unacceptable, disastrous, disgusting, heart-wrenchingly painful. The cutlery before me was aligning perfectly, one by one shining like the moon upon a pool of deathly still water, reflecting my wretched visage upon my eyes. How could one such as me bear such an insult, for such poorly prepared food to be placed in my vicinity, for it to be suggested, even in jest, that I eat such filth? It truly fills me with vitriol and hatred, seething, fiery, righteous anger. I watch as the cook approached, along with the waiter that dared to cross my plate with the poison that disgraced my table. They tremble there, uncouth and basal, sack of flesh reduced to no more than their most primal instincts, survival and fear. I produce a cruelly hooked but utterly beautiful blade of polished gold with a gentle flourish that befitted my situation. The grim yellow surface stained an eerie red from the years of use was, of course, my true symbol of station. As head of the Bashtahatch family, they implemented a punishment used to teach those below me their place in society. I point down to the ground, invoking an unwritten law known among all servants of the Bashtahatch. Kneel and silently beg for forgiveness. The cook immediately dropped and hung his head in silent prayer to whatever deity that he held dear. Despite his years of loyal service to the household, this single mistake was grave enough for him to understand what may yet befall him. The waiter, on the other hand, had a moment of confusion, as if not genuinely comprehending the gravity of the situation he found himself in. He slowly sank to his knees, copying the cook, and then proceeded to break the one taboo of the physician of forgiveness. He spoke aloud with his filthy mouth to me. Sir, such an affront to mine persons could not be allowed to go unchecked. I slowly slipped on my white gloves so as not to mar my delicate and well-groomed hand, then proceeded to firmly grab his lower jaw and wrench it open. In a moment of panic, the boy became deathly still as if realizing his mistake. His eyes were wild like that of an animal caught in a snare, not understanding either his situation or station in life, destined to become amusement for the superior hunters on the trail. In one swift, clean motion, I grabbed his tongue, inserted the curved blade, and sliced it off at the base. The young fool pitched over. Screams mixed with the sound of blood being choked on. I watched over him in silent judgment while holding the erstwhile tongue in my hand. Having absolved him of his sin, the Bashta shall not tolerate impudence.
Right. Yeah. I think we've already established for the previous one that this one was supposed to be a bit more sort of monotone and more sort of, calculated, and the tone was supposed to be a bit more stationary. The Bastarage pronunciation was definitely a little off. Pretty sure it was off, actually. I'm gonna assume it was off because I'm pretty sure that's not how you pronounce that. But
I'm just gonna jump in as well, and Theodore was the only one who didn't ask me how it was pronounced. To be fair, everybody else asked for a pronunciation guide, and he didn't. So I know we're saying we take our turns. We're saying here, but I'm gonna be fair and say that he went for it and tried to read it as it was said. So yeah.
Yeah. I'd also say the music was a little bit too loud, I think. It was fine. You can understand every word you said. It just seemed like it was a little bit too much on the same level as the actual voice. It could have been just a little bit quieter. It's good. I mean, actually, a good choice of music though. The actual music is used. It's quite a good choice. It just would have worked so much better if it was more in the background, not so much in the forefront. I didn't notice any sort of other missed words or anything, although I have been only half paying attention to the actual script alongside listening to it. I've been more listening to it than reading along, but it all sounded fine, I'd say. It was definitely a good submission. Just I'd say for what we had established, less emotions, and it would have worked really well. Skydis.
Let's see, what have you not mentioned? There was one minor mistake, I think relatively early on, where it says upon mine eyes. I think that was read as upon my eyes. I noticed that, but I think that's about the only real mistake, I guess, that I noticed. There were some minor pronunciation things, but I think those are mostly down to just accent. I don't know what your native language is, but I'm just gonna guess it's not English, so I'm not really gonna take any points off for that. There were a few things I especially noticed it when you pronounce the word filth as filled, so that was just I noticed it, but as I said, I'm not really gonna really discredit you for that. I definitely, on the topic of emotion, I especially felt like when the insult is, which part was it? When the cook drops and hangs his head in prayer. I definitely feel like there was too much anger. Like overall, Terrace has already mentioned that this was supposed to be more calm, but I felt that one was especially just took it a little too far. I was also a little confused by the music, not just because it was loud, but especially the piano was so occasional that it kind of distracted me, and I was trying to read something into it that probably wasn't there, so that distracted me a little. I did like that there were some extra instruments added. I think a violin, but I don't remember exactly. But there were some extra instruments that's set in when the cook realizes what is about to happen. So that actually added to the drama. So there was some good post-up, like some added tension in post. I really like that. And that's all.
Anytime.
Right. So, there is obviously an element of everybody reads a piece differently, and how do I put this? There's different ways this can be interpreted. I like Mr. Midnight's interpretation of this. But really what I'm aiming for here is just this, like, how do I describe this? This quiet level of disgust. This almost psychopathic level of complete and utter disregard for the feelings of others.
Apathy. Is that maybe the word?
No. Apathy is not the right way of putting
The
this.
CSO made a suggestion in the chat.
Yeah.
For what you mean.
So the general idea is that he understands his own emotions, and he realizes that it's like he's looking at a pile of filth on the floor, and he has absolutely no comprehension whatsoever of what these people are feeling, only what their actions have on him. And the background here really is that he does this so frequently that he knows to express these feelings of disgust, but really has no real weight or punch behind them until he gets to this moment of physicality where he grabs the boy on the floor and rips his tongue out with this knife. But still, I don't mind at all how it was read. Like I said, I don't feel like there's like too much negativity there at all. In my mind, I will say the pacing was a bit odd. Not too bad, but definitely threw me for a loop at points. And also, I think the music was a bit overbearing. I like the style of the music. I like how it was done, but it was just too loud. It kind of drowned out the voice acting through a lot of it. I feel like it's like a really nice undercurrent, maybe 30 to 40% of the current volume. It would have been really, really good. I like the idea as well. This thought of a noble sitting in a room and almost to some extent just a servant in the background playing the piano, and just this air in the room of every other servant realizes what's about to happen and just accepts it as a fact of life. Everything carries on as normal while this absolute abomination is happening in front of them. So yeah, I actually really like how that meshed in with it. Obviously, like I said, that wasn't part of the prompt at all, but everybody was given like free rein to do whatever they want with the post-production. So really nice addition there. And yeah, I mean, oh, pardon me. Obviously, like I said, there was a couple of small mistakes, but nothing like too bad. I'm not going to repeat what the other two have said because obviously we'll be here for hours otherwise. But yeah, I think overall it's a nice submission. Shall we move on to Terrace's story?
Yeah.
Right?
I will look upon the one that is what you wanted me to find. The eye, like I asked you. Don't you see that in front of you is your back to the door and hope that they don't know why they are here? It was your idea, after all has happened. I wish upon a star in the sky down below the basement he hides. I know that now. My eye bleeds from the ash of what once was, but could never have been this close to her end. Why can't you understand that darkness was and never is walking behind you, and not once did you think to speak to you tomorrow? Just don't be late or you miss me. For all these years, oh, she was, and it was beautiful. Crack marble on my face towards you. When you speak to you like I have known all my life, I've been searching for the true meaning behind your space, where you stand tall in the trees, which calls you at night, and tell me to walk a path which leads you to understand what I mean, even though I told you I don't think you wanted to close them, but I did, and now, pain? I walk among people who can see. I told this would happen, but you didn't listen to the birds as they fly, trapped in a spider web of my mind. Separated, yet open to those who made me this. Could have gone differently from the way you look, but it's hard to explain to me what the problem is, or do I need to come? And where are you? There are more who see that I once imagined a life quite like this is the end of the road for him, and if he decides to keep going, or I will go without you, must follow the figure's call. But I ignore the one who thinks this is a good idea. But I suppose there have been worse. Once I get there, I will ask the reason why I asked you to come with me. It's pretty clear, I imagine, but if you are standing and not walking, then you mustn't close your eyes, for there's no sanity left at the crossroad and right behind the oak tree, and another left at the end of my life. Will you? Such tall, towering, yet they grow as 1, 2, 3. See, I'm still saying. Why? Numbers are the way to comprehend the true value of the situation, but only if they choose you to see. For they can, and as one walks, the other stands behind me, so they don't see you, as you were not chosen randomly. Reminded of Craig, my name once has been so close to the path, but yet not owned it, but rather lost altogether, or as one. But then it asked me to stay and see for what might want to come. Sleeping inside as they wait to make sure that your eyes shine in the moonlight. It's so bright tonight with stars aplenty as cities so far. I don't know why I'm here, but I know that I must stay, for if they come, some have to see. If not, others will not, and it might awake, which the 3 can't stop. What are you doing? And look into my eyes and tell me that you will stay and help them protect. Others also see, but more if you want to make sure that this stays here with us and not escape into your soul, as they believe that it was his fault. But now, trapped and bright is the sky which shines and reflects the white bones of those who no longer see. what they have become, but their job they did until you came to replace what is lost among the trees. And maybe, just maybe, you'll find a way out of this, is what I told you, but you didn't listen. Your ears closed. Can you hear me? Eternity is so short during my life as one of them. Who decide if I live? They didn't know we could blink and disappear, for I must face the consequences or run out of ideas at this point. If only she didn't bend into temptation for one's curious mind. Inside lays the answer, but so deep within that even they couldn't know that I know. But if they tell me what bothers you, friend, I'm telling you how they will react to it. But he didn't want to, too scared of its own lack of one, and seeing too many. Please help me.
That was very Craig. I think that was done exceptionally well, honestly. I really, really like that. Yeah. I think my only negative point here is, once again, the music's a little loud. I just tone it down a little bit, but other than that, loved it. I don't have much negative to say at all. I will pass on to Curtis.
All right. I felt like with the previous reading, so the one of Mr. Midnight, there were some breaks when speaking where it should just be a continuous train of thought, just sort of seamlessly going from one thought transitioning into the other one. There were some breaks that, if I had read this, that's not how I would have done it. And Terrace has already spoken on that, but I'm sure he will share his thoughts on that. I felt like words were often drawn out a little too much, which is something that would be a lot more fitting for the first story. But this is Mr. Crazy Craig, and I feel like it should just be a little more hectic overall. It felt a little too deliberate, I guess. I like that it got faster as it continued. Like the speech, the speed of the speaking got faster. I like that, but I personally felt like it was a little too much. But I really like the idea. I also like that it in some places he did read the certain words a little louder and more pronounced, as Craig was kind of midway switching between two different thoughts, which I feel like to the listener that conveys the craziness quite well. That makes it a little easier to really grasp that he's just jumping between these different thoughts seemingly at random. The music fading out at the end, I like that as an idea. It was just too abrupt, but I really like the idea of that. So overall, I feel like there were quite a few nice ideas, just the execution on them could be improved. And that's it. Terrace?
I actually really like this. I think this is the one of the better interpretations of just anyone who's read this doing Craig. It's got that, as sort of Skyzen mentioned, it's got that sort of calculated. What was the word used again? When you mean something. My brain's blank. Help.
Same.
You use the word, and the word makes sense. Just it was purposeful, but it had that. Deliberate. That's the one. Yeah, it had that, like, it felt deliberate, but also it was also just fast, because again he's so kind of excited and in a bit of a panic and such. So it kind of fits. I think the one criticism, apart from just the music being too loud again, would be the fact that some of the words were a little too fast. Like it felt, some bits felt rushed, but not like a panicking rushed, but just like a trying to say something really fast thing. It was good. It was good, but I think it was just too many words being just sort of spoken like just really really fast, like almost skipped over. I really liked the bit at the end with how he pronounced the "please help me," how he actually sort of slowed it all down. That was quite good. The ending, it definitely made the ending a lot better. And Skydis did mention the pauses. I think the pauses was in this case there was few pauses, and the ones that were in it made perfect sense for the character of Craig. Where there were like, again, towards the ends of sentences or just even in the middle of them, just kind of randomly sprinkled in there as he jumped from thought to thought. So I think that actually worked. I think that actually worked a little better. Yeah, the overall good submission. I think that's all I gotta say.
So this like basically takes place in Craig's head, right? These are just his thoughts. Would we say they take place in a Craig head?
I think the good way to imagine it would be imagine some random crazy psychopath just kick down your door and then just run up to you and then just start saying all of this really really quickly.
Yeah, a crackhead.
And you're just sitting there like holding your cup of yogurt and a teaspoon, just looking at him, with sheer horror, just looking at him as he's just pacing around the room saying all of that. That's how you can imagine this being said.
Imagine having your yogurt interrupted. What a rude dude. Right.
Prove the pun.
So, next is EurasianRob.
Oh, Rob me boy.
Sorry.
I was gonna correct you if you weren't doing it. I was literally thinking, if you do this, I'm gonna correct you.
I apologize.
Perfect.
You're up, kid.
Yeah.
You're Asian. Yeah.
Oh.
Just Robo kid.
Somewhere in the middle. Anyway. Yeah. Oh dear.
Thanks, Kite is very cool.
Okay.
Oh,
I'm to mute.
it is. Do the thing.
Oh, despair. Oh, what woe befalls me on this day. For one such as me, this turn of events was wholly unacceptable. Disastrous, disgusting, heart-wrenchingly painful. The cutlery before me was aligned perfectly, one by one shining like the moon upon a pool of deathly still water, reflecting my wretched visage upon mine eyes. How could one such as me bear such an insult? For such poorly prepared food to be placed in my vicinity, for it to be suggested, even in jest, that I eat such filth, truly fills me with vitriol and hatred, seething, fiery, righteous anger. I watched as the cook approached, along with the waiter that dared to cross my plate with the poison that disgraced my table. They trembled there, uncouth and basal, sacks of flesh reduced to no more than their most primal instincts, survival and fear. I produced the cruelly hooked but utterly beautiful blade of polished gold with a gentle flourish that befitted my situation. The grim yellow surface stained an eerie red from years of use was, of course, my true symbol of station as head of the Bastarach family, the implement of punishment used to teach those below me their place in society. I pointed down to the ground, invoking an unwritten law known among all servants of Bastarach: kneel and silently beg for forgiveness. The cook immediately dropped and hung his head in silent prayer to whatever deity that he held dear. Despite his years of loyal service to the household, this single mistake was grave enough for him to understand what may yet befall him. The waiter, on the other hand, had a moment of confusion,
as if not genuinely comprehending the gravity of the situation he found himself in. He slowly sank to his knees, copying the cook, and then proceeded to break the one taboo of the position of forgiveness. He spoke aloud, with his filthy mouth to me. "Sir, such an affront to mine persons could not be allowed to go unchecked." I slowly slipped on my white gloves, so as not to mar my delicate and well-groomed hands, then proceeded to firmly grab his lower jaw and wrench it open. In a moment of panic, the boy became deathly still, as if realizing his mistake. His eyes were wild like that of an animal caught in a snare, not understanding either its situation or station in life, destined to become amusement for the superior hunters on the trail. In one swift, clean motion, I grabbed his tongue, inserted the curved blade, and sliced it off at the base. The young fool pitched over, screams mixed with the sound of blood being choked on. I watched over him in silent judgment, while holding the erstwhile tongue in my hand, having absolved him of his sin. The Bastarach shall not tolerate impudence.
Now, I know Terrace is supposed to go first, but I just want to say one thing, bro.
Oh no.
I...
All right, Terrace.
No, hang on. Hang on. The way you said sir. I know that it was supposed to... Sorry.
Should we take a moment?
He literally needs a minute. You've actually broken him with a single word.
Should Terrace go?
Only Rob could do it.
Should Terrace go first while you collect yourself?
It was really well done. It was so left field. Oh my god. Oh. Sorry, Terrace, go on.
I'm gonna go. Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah.
I'd say I quite like how increasingly menacing he sounds as farther into the story he goes. It just starts off a bit of anger, and then it's like almost the anger dissipates and goes into just what's the word? Just that sort of disgust, just looking down on people. That was really really well put through. I don't actually know what to say. It was really good. The pronunciations all were fine. Egg is kind of alive. Don't worry about it, Rob. He's currently just muted himself just to collect his. He literally lost his collective ethos. So
You just robbed him of his calmness.
shut up.
Sorry, I was just trying to explain the situation.
You grabbed me up and then scrambled me. Yeah.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah. Yeah, it was good. I like the very very subtle sound effects. Only just a couple, all just nice and quiet, just in the right moments, just to emphasize certain things, that was really good. I presume you see Asard on the post processing for that one. Post processing? I don't know if I'm even using the word. Post production. Yeah, that's what I'm looking for. But yeah.
No, post processing is what Egg is trying to do after hearing Sir.
I'm gonna jump in ahead of Skies here and break custom once again, because I feel like something needs to be said here. This is very similar to one submission we had last week. I think it was Mr. Midnight's one actually, where I had an idea in my mind of how I wanted this read, and this is completely different to that, and I like it even more than my original idea. if that makes sense. Like, it's given me a new, like, perspective on this. Oh, it was really good. It was real good. I mean, I expect nothing less from you, Rob, but god damn, that was good.
we enjoy Rob here.
Yeah.
We should start a Rob fan club.
I don't know what to say. It's negative, really.
Yeah.
I mean, I'd say the effects were obviously really good, not overwhelming. Right just like gently tickling your ear holes. Yeah, the the way that the emotion progressed throughout the piece, everything, and oh my god.
I think that's my cue. First of all, I had an idea. So since you seem to be liking Rob and you want to help him take this somewhere, how about we start a service to fund him? We call it roblyfans.com.
Oh. Okay, stream's over.
You're fired. Right, we had a good run, guys. That's it. Competition's cancelled. You can thank Skytus.
All right, so you added a slight echo to the voice. I actually really like that. I feel like it was a tiny bit, like it really just a tiny bit too much. But that, to me, I pictured him just being like in his room, just maybe almost like writing a diary of what happened today, and just sort of reciting the events that happened, and just having the echo just. I pictured a relatively empty room, which just made sense for the situation. So I really like the echo. There were very subtle noises added, and just the music was also very subtle. So I liked all of that, especially like the cutlery. When that was mentioned, there was cutlery noises. Just, very, very subtle things that don't really distract at all. They just add a small, tiny bit of extra immersion. I like that. There was one missed word, I believe. When he says it truly fills me with vitriol, I believe the "it" was missed, unless I'm crazy, which is very much possible.
Yeah, too much Craig for one day.
I felt like there was too much and too big swings in terms of the emotion. Like one sentence, he's very angry. Like, hold on, let me see if I can find it. And then the next sentence, he's just almost like super calm comparatively. Like, yeah, it truly fills me with vitriol and hatred, seething, fiery, righteous anger. That was read very angry, and then I watched just the Cook approach. It's like almost as if it's like on the next day he cooled off. It just, the contrast felt a little too much. Regarding the thing that absolutely cracked our egg, I felt like the Sir was almost in a mocking voice, which I found very fitting. So I just wanted to point out, I don't know if it was supposed to be mocking, it sounded like that, and I liked it.
I think it sounded more meek than anything.
Well, how
you know what it sounded like? I'm almost like pre-regretting about to say this because it's going to be on Skype's VOD, but yeah. Actually, no, I'm not going to say it. You tell me what, no, I've changed my mind.
Can I DM the thing to Rob?
Yeah, alright, hang on.
They'll DM him the screenshot.
Are you going to say a very bad word on my stream?
No.
Okay, then I have no idea what Egg's talking about, but then it's all good.
Oh, yeah.
Egg was.
We're not bullying you, Rob. We're just admiring your dedication to the cause.
If this is bullying, please, I would like to get bullied every single day. Because being bullied entails a quite high chance of winning money, so please bully me.
We enjoy Rob.
Anyway.
Isn't it ironic that Rob takes money from you?
We'll get robbed. Anyway.
Moving on.
Anyway, shall we see Rob talking like an absolute crazy man?
See, he wasn't talking like a crazy man just in this story. He was like, he spent like the past 4 days in my DMs just complaining about it.
Did you just say, should we see Rob talking like a crazy man?
Yeah, you've got to see his words.
But we don't see him speak.
Yeah, but you're not seeing him speak, you're seeing the noises.
I want to look at his lips.
Ah, yes, I want to see the music.
But it's supposed to be crazy. What are you talking about?
Yeah, thanks, CSR. We'll see how it turned out.
Alright,
I can't begin to imagine why he'd be nervous. It's a well-written story.
I will look upon the one that is what you wanted me to find the eye, like I asked you. Don't you see that in front of you is your back to the door, and hope they don't know why they are here? It was your idea, after all, that has happened. I wish upon a star in the sky down below the basement he hides. I know that now. My eye bleeds from the ash of what once was, but could never have been this close to her end. Why can't you understand that darkness was and never is looking behind you? And not once did you think to speak to you tomorrow. Just don't be late, or you will miss me for all these years old she was. And it was beautiful. Cracked marble on my face towards you. When you speak to you, like I have known all my life, I've been searching for the true meaning behind your space, where you stand tall, like the trees which call you at night, and tell me to walk a path which leads to you. Understand what I mean, even though I told you I don't think you wanted to close them. But I did, and now... pain? I walk among people who can see. I told this would happen, but you didn't listen to the birds as they fly, trapped in a spider web of my mind. Separate, yet open to those who made me. This could have gone differently from the way you look, but it's hard to explain to me what the problem is. Or do I need to come? And where are you? There are more who see that I once imagined a life quite like this is the end of the road for him. And if he decides to keep going, or I will go without you, must follow. The figures call, but I ignore the one who thinks this is a good idea. But I suppose there have been worse. Once I get there, I will ask the reason why I asked you to come with me. Is pretty clear, I'd imagine. But if you are standing and not walking, then you mustn't close your eyes, for there is no sanity left at the crossroad, and right behind the oak tree, and another left at the end of my life. Will you? Such tall, towering, yet they grow as 1, 2, 3. See? I'm still sane. Why? Numbers are the way to comprehend the true value of this situation, but only if they choose you to see. For they can't, and as one walks the others stand behind me, so they don't see you, as you were not chosen and randomly reminded of Craig. My name once has been so close to the path, but yet not on it, but rather lost altogether, or as one. But then it asks me to stay and see for what might want to come. Sleeping inside as they wait to make sure that your eyes shine in the moonlight so bright tonight, with stars aplenty as cities so far. I don't know why I'm here, but I know that I must stay. For if they come, some have to see, for if not, others will not, and it might awake. Which the three can't stop what you are doing and look into my eyes and tell me that you will stay and help them protect. Others also see, but more if you want to make sure that this stays here with us and not escape into your soul as they believe, what that it was his fault, but now trapped, and bright is the sky which shines and reflects the white bones of those who no longer see what they have become. But their job they did until you came to replace what is lost among the trees. And maybe, just maybe, you'll find a way out of this. Is what I told you. But you didn't listen. Your ears closed. Can you hear me? Eternity, so short during my life, as one of them will decide if I live. They didn't know we could blink, and it disappeared, for I must face the consequence or run out of ideas at this point. If only she didn't bend to the temptation for one's curious mind inside. It lays the answer, but so deep within that even they couldn't know that I know. But if I... Tell me what bothers you, friend. I'm telling you how they will react to it, but he didn't want to. Too scared of his own lack of one and seeing too many. Please help me.
Despair.
Oh boy. Oh boy.
Oh boy.
You genuinely sounded like you're on the verge of tears throughout the entire of that. And I'm not sure if that was voice acting or whether it actually broke you. But either way, bravo, because it was fucking brilliant.
I just want to quickly say, I think Rob somehow made it made sense. Just listening to this version somehow makes it make more sense than it actually does.
It's like that song that's made to sound like English to non-English speakers. Somehow, like you were saying complete and utter nonsense, and it sounded really clear, but I didn't understand what you were saying. And I feel like you've captured the essence of this so well that I'm actually scared for your mental health. Now, if you want, we can offer counselling sessions after this. You can get a free coupon.
Coupon for a date with Terrace?
Well, you can either have a coupon for a date with Terrace or a coupon for a free counselling session. It's your choice.
It's either or.
What's
No,
the
you can't
difference?
have both. Well, after the date, he'll need even more counselling.
Oh. Yeah. Christ. I don't even know what to say. I was just lost in that the entire time. That was really good though. Blimey. Right, well, that was absolutely, completely and utterly unconstructive in every way, shape, or form. On to you, Skythus.
Hold on, I'm just quickly catching up on chat because I was trying to completely focus on the reading and voice acting. I'm just making sure that I'm not missing anything essential being said. Okay. I don't have that much to say, which I'm gonna say right now. That's a good thing. I really like the change of emotion in the voice, especially in the first half. It went from a trembling voice to a more timid voice, and then there was more like certainty in the voice. I really like the changes in that. I will say some of the post-production stuff was really nice in terms of the idea. Again, I just felt like the distortion in the third paragraph was very distracting for me. And also overall just the difference when you go from one paragraph to the other and the previous paragraph has different like a different effect on it. It felt a little jarring to be jumping between them, but I really like the idea of it. Do I? And I really like the extra. Like it felt extra firm when he was in the beginning of the second half of it, where it was just
in the beginning.
Oh no, it's extra firm.
when he was just reassuring that he isn't crazy. Just you really made it sound like you are absolutely persuaded. Yes, I am not crazy. Like just through your voice, and I really like that. And that's it.
Yeah, it was. I feel like Thanks, yes. Yeah, I think he does. I think it's long overdue.
Oh,
Oh no, honestly, this is. I feel like this was just done really well, especially the how Titus mentioned. Like you'd have one paragraph get like really emotional, and then it cuts to the next paragraph, and it's just back to like the more regular tone. That was actually kind of how I imagined this would go, which is why it's sort of structured in this specific way, and not just like a bigger block of text. I
yes.
I was thinking at first that a lot of the pauses were sort of out of place a bit, but to be fair, that thought just disappeared as it went on. It's just it just sounded like you were in a constant state of fear, which was again quite accurate with this particular piece of writing. So, yeah, it was good. I enjoyed it greatly.
I
enjoyed Craig.
Craig, good. Now then, the final submission. Now, like I say, me and Terrace have had a chuckle about this because we're both lazy bastards, to be quite honest with you, and we have a habit of doing things at the last possible minute. Mangoci has exemplified this to a T, submitting this 9 minutes before the deadline. As much as it wasn't really a deadline, it was more of a please just get it in by this time. It was still infinitely funny to me.
Yeah, she all week and just messaged me yesterday about questions about Craig. Literally yesterday. It was quite late yesterday as well, so it was literally done last minute, all of it.
Which is totally fine.
Yeah.
I guess she's probably busy, but still.
Yeah.
I don't know if she's here with us in the chat at the moment, but still. Oh dear me. Anyway, last but not least, then it's time to mute.
Finally, he shut up. Thank God.
Despair. What woe befalls me on this day. For one such as me, this turn of events was wholly unacceptable. Disastrous, disgusting, heart-wrenchingly painful. The cutlery before me was aligned perfectly, one by one shining like the moon upon a pool of deathly still water, reflecting my wretched visage upon mine eyes. How could one such as me bear such an insult? For such poorly prepared food to be placed in my vicinity, for it to be suggested, even in jest, that I eat such filth. It truly fills me with vitriol and hatred, seething, fiery, righteous anger. I watched as the cook approached, along with the waiter that dared to cross my plate with the poison that disgraced my table. They trembled there, uncouth and basal, sacks of flesh reduced to no more than their most primal instincts, survival and fear. I produced a cruelly hooked but utterly beautiful blade of polished gold with a gentle flourish that befitted my situation. The grim yellow surface, stained an eerie red from years of use, was, of course, my true symbol of station as head of the Bastarach family. The implement of punishment used to teach those below me their place in society. I pointed down to the ground, invoking an unwritten law known among all servants of Bastarach. Kneel and silently beg for forgiveness. The cook immediately dropped and hung his head in silent prayer to whatever deity that he held dear. Despite his years of loyal service to the household, this single mistake was grave enough for him to understand what may yet befall him. The waiter, on the other hand, had a moment of confusion, as if not genuinely comprehending the gravity of the situation he found himself in. He slowly sank to his knees, copying the cook, and then proceeded to break the one taboo of the position of forgiveness. He spoke aloud with his filthy mouth to me. Sir, such an affront to mine persons could not be allowed to go unchecked. I slowly slipped on my white gloves so as not to mar my delicate and well-groomed hands, then proceeded to firmly grab his lower jaw and wrench it open. In a moment of panic, the boy became deathly still as if realizing his mistake. His eyes were wild, like that of an animal caught in a snare, not understanding either its situation or station in life, destined to become amusement for the superior hunters on the trail. In one swift, clean motion, I grabbed his tongue, inserted the curved blade, and sliced it off at the base. The young fool pitched over, screams mixed with the sound of blood being choked on. I watched over him in silent judgment, while holding the erstwhile tongue in my hand, having absolved him of his sin. The Bastarat shall not tolerate impudence.
Right. I always like my. Shut the fuck up. I always like Mangoci's reading of things. Her words just seem to almost just hug the text. Like they just flow. It just really nicely. It's always a pleasure to listen to. I'd say there was a few bits where almost the accent changed, which sounded maybe strange. That might just be me going absolutely fucking mad. But I think that was a little bit in there. Yes, yeah, I think most of the pronunciations were all right. I think there was one or two in the beginning that were a little bit funny, but as I'm sure you can probably hear from her accent, she's not a native English speaker, so that's more than excused. And yeah, I think that's all I gotta say, really. To be fair, everything else is quite well done. Yeah, Sky did.
I thought we were here to bully.
No, you were just here to bully Rob. Don't bully Mangoci.
Oh, okay. Well,
just Rob, okay?
all right, and we just rob him of his enjoyment of this. Got it. All right. I really like how at the was in the earlier part of the reading there was this disgust in the voice, but not really anger. Like the character stayed, I guess, composed. It felt very fitting. There was disgust as to the situation, but they didn't just like really break down in rage. It's they stayed very composed, like the character being portrayed. I mean, I really liked that. I feel like in some sections the voice could have been a little more condescending. Like, for example, in the part kneel and silently beg for forgiveness, I feel like there, I feel like the character is really could really be portraying how they see themselves as obviously superior to the others. So it's not just kneel and silently beg, but more like kneel and silently beg. Just being really sure of, yeah, I am superior to you and I'm telling you to do this. I like how the character seems to get almost carried away with dishing out the punishment. Like I mentioned how he stays, or she, I guess. I mean, it's gentleman, so I guess whatever. How he stays composed at this earlier, and then just almost gets carried away with dishing out the punishment, which I really like that. I don't know if it was intended, but if so, that was very well acted. And I don't know which mispronunciations Terrace mentioned. The only thing that I noticed is that the word "the" was a few times pronounced more like a "the" instead of a "the," more like a "d" sound. But
that's just German things.
Yeah, that's about all I caught. So, egg.
Okay, so it was alright overall, but I don't want to be mean, but like
No.
I felt like the read as in general just felt a bit dry. A lot of these sentences were started the same way with the same tone of voice, and the sudden spike of emotion in certain things. It emphasized points, but it felt like a bit much. I I don't know. Like it wasn't a bad read overall, mind you, but I feel like there could have been a little more thought put into actually voice acting out some of these parts rather than just reading them and adding a bit of emotion in certain places. So that feels really mean to say. Like I didn't dislike it, but it isn't really in any way what I envisioned for this piece, if that makes sense. I say there was a few pronunciation errors, but once again, we know you're not a native English speaker. There's no problem. The basics were really good. It flowed quite well. There weren't really any pauses. There was no like, words missed out, no extra words left in. So it was clean. I'll give you that much. But it just felt like it plateaued at a certain point and didn't really hit the kind of hit that level of really understanding the piece, so to speak. I don't know. That's my thoughts on it. I don't know if you have any like extra comments to add to that, but
I think that's very fair.
No, I wouldn't dare to tarnish your words by adding anything to them.
oh no, that's that must be a perfectly polished egg.
I mean, the only thing that's perfectly polished here is Terrace.
Shut up.
Oh my god!
But
Polished.
don't worry, I have more, but I'm holding back.
Actually, fucking.
Okay, let's leave this for later. No, Rob, he's Polish.
That was a bold assumption.
That's, all right. Okay.
Yeah. Anyway, let's stay serious. We've got one last one.
Anywho, Mr. Tiddly, yeah. Let's go on to Craig.
I will look upon the one that is what you wanted me to find, the eye like I asked you. Don't you see that in front of you is your back to the door and hope they don't know why they are here? It was your idea after all that has happened. I wish upon a star in the sky down below the basement he hides. I know that now. My eye bleeds from the ash of what once was, but could never have been this close to her end. Why can't you understand that darkness was and never is looking behind you, and not once did you think to speak to you? Tomorrow, just don't be late, or you will miss me. For all these years old she was, and it was beautiful. Cracked marble on my face towards you when you speak to you like I've known all my life. I've been searching for the true meaning behind your space, where you stand tall like the trees which call you at night and tell me to walk a path which leads to you. Understand what I mean, even though I told you I don't think you wanted to close them, but I did. And now, pain? I walk among people who can see I told this would happen, but you didn't listen to the birds as they fly trapped in a spider web of my mind. Separate, yet open to those who made me this. Could have gone differently from the way you look, but it's hard to explain to me what the problem is. Or do I need to come? Where are you? There are more who see that I once imagined a life quite like this. This is the end of the road for him, and if he decides to keep going, or I will go without, you must follow. The figures call, but I ignore the one who thinks this is a good idea. But I suppose there have been worse. Once I get there, I will ask the reason why I asked you to come with me. It's pretty clear, I'd imagine, but if you are standing and not walking, then you mustn't close your eyes, for there's no sanity left at the crossroad. And right behind the oak tree, and another left at the end of my life. Will you? Such tall, towering, yet they grow as 1, 2, 3. See, I'm still sane. Why? Numbers are the way to comprehend the true value of this situation, but only if they choose you to see, for they can't, and as one walks the others, stand behind me, so they don't see you as you were not chosen and randomly reminded of Craig. My name once has been so close to the path, but yet not on it, but rather lost altogether, or as one. But then it asks me to stay and see for what might want to come. Sleeping inside as they wait to make sure that your eyes shine in the moonlight is so bright tonight, with stars and plenty of cities. So far, I don't know why I'm here, but I know that they must stay. For if they come, some have to see, for if not, others will not, and it might awake. Which the 3 can't stop what you are doing and look into my eyes and tell me that you will stay and help them protect. Others also see, but more if you want to make sure that this stays here with us and not escape into your soul, as they believe that it was his fault, but now trapped. And bright is the sky, which shines and reflects the white bones of those who no longer see what they have become, but their job they did until you came to replace what is lost among the trees. And maybe, just maybe, you'll find a way out of this. Is what I told you, but you didn't listen. Your ears closed. Can you hear me? Eternity, so short during my life, as one of them will decide if I live. They didn't know we could blink, and it disappeared, for I must face the consequence, or run out of ideas at this point. If only she didn't bend into temptation, for one's curious mind inside. It lays the answer, but so deep within that even they couldn't know that I know. But if I tell me what bothers you, friend, I'm telling you how they will react to it. But he didn't want to, too scared of his own lack of one, and seeing too many. Please help me.
I'm going to say something here. Right? It's actually there's a very specific image that's painted in my mind, and I want to share that with everyone.
Oh, no.
Just like
Is that
lying in
safe
bed.
for stream?
It is safe for stream, yeah. I'm just like lying in bed, and then just like opening your eyes, and like a fucking like sleep paralysis demon, you're like completely immobilized, and just like her just like standing and like leaning over your face about an inch away, completely unblinking, and just saying this in this voice, like this entire spiel, while you literally can't move and you just have to lay there and listen.
Very interesting.
The way this was done, just like really calm, but with this underlying tone of complete and utter insanity. I actually, in contrast to the previous one, I really like this one actually. It's odd because it's not fundamentally like really awe-inspiring as a submission, but the way it all comes together with this piece is actually really nice. Like it genuinely paints that image in my head, and it's absolutely terrifying. But yeah, I'll pass on to Scotus.
All right. So first of all, I will say I felt like this was a little too quiet, which is obviously the easiest thing to fix out of all of them. So not a big deal. I feel like it could have just been a tiny bit louder. But What else do we have? I really liked how this was read and just, I guess, acted. I feel like this is the closest to how I would have done it if I could voice act. So I guess that's good. The post-production kind of confused me a little bit, like the effect on the voice. I was actively trying to picture something in my head, and I just couldn't figure out what I was trying to picture. It was just, I don't know, maybe that's just my own incompetence and lack of imagination, but that just confused me ultimately. There was one thing added in. Hold on, this is my stream, so I can just highlight it. In this part, maybe you'll find a way out of this, and then there was an added, which is not what it said here, but I do think it was deliberate. I'm not sure. We're gonna hear how Terrace feels about this, but I feel like it was at the very least a very interesting addition of just this very minor word that just kind of. I feel like it made sense to add it there, even though it obviously technically wasn't there. But I liked that. I found it interesting. And ultimately, I don't have much more to say. I was just kind of almost absorbed into some kind of like a trance state. Like while listening to this, it was very, I guess, immersive then. So it flowed very well. It actually was kind of, as I said, it almost absorbed me in a way. So I like that.
Nice. I've had like almost mixed feelings because I feel like this is not the way I envisioned it in a way, but I like the way it's done. It has this it kind of has this all over the place feeling, and random things being highlighted and other just being random pauses and things like it. It works really well. I think there were a few too many pauses, and it being this quiet with the echo made it like you had to really concentrate to actually make out what was being said. But the overall feeling, like Egg said, it does have this like it does have this just almost menacingly creepy feeling to it, and I definitely do like that. The thing Scott has mentioned with the extra word, like as I said, this story is kind of initially half mess, so an extra word here and there doesn't really ruin it. And I didn't even notice there was an extra word in there, so it was that works fine with the story.
The word was which you know usually you don't intentionally do that. It's more like when you're trying to read and then you just well that like as a filler. So that's probably why you didn't notice. Yeah. It is very subtle.
Yeah, it does work well. Yeah. I think it was definitely a pretty good one. Yeah.
Oh, I think that's it for the submissions. Yeah, now we can go back to bullying Rob full time. Right.
No, what the fuck kind of name is Rob? Like, oh my god. I guess his parents really erred on the side of caution.
Anyway, I guess before we do that, we should probably go and do judging things because we wouldn't want to rob you of the results. So,
yeah, but you should probably just give people a quick rundown of what's going to happen now, because otherwise they will be confused.
Yeah, so the Triumvirate will convene.
The saga of Endless Rob.
Yeah, the Triumvirate will convene. We're going to do closed doors judging, and we're going to come back, and then we're going to say you're a winner, and then we're going to leave.
We're going to send Scott the exact image we want him to display during our judgment.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure me and like both already know what one it is.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, and that's exactly
Yeah.
why I said it. In fact,
Yeah, good.
Okay,
Make sure
but-
Titus has it.
All right, but before we leave, one very important thing. Rob, feel free to leave because you already lost anyway.
wrecked nerd.
Rude.
No, that is not an official decision. Strike that from the records.
Hold on, let me just pencil it out.
Pencil it out. Just scribble over it and do a little happy face.
Yeah.
All right, so
Yeah. Put the scene on. Make sure they can't hear us, and then
yeah,
we'll-
all right. Then I will just mute things, and you just you do what you're being told on screen right now.
Yeah.
despair in my eyes. How approach, along with the waiter that dared to survival and fear. I produce. I will look upon your space. Where are you?
I will look upon the
Wait, can they hear us?
Not yet, apparently.
No?
No. Okay.
Do it again.
Oh.
Now they can hear us.
Oh no. Oh, okay, understandable. Outed. Oh no, you can hear. You can hear. You can hear as well. Oh, right,
Oh.
yeah. Now for the hard part.
Yeah.
I was okay, good.
Yeah.
I was just about to
Well-
get hard. What?
Mm.
The
Please save that
hardening of
until.
Pharaoh.
Please save them until after the.
Well, we have come to a decision as the Triumvirate.
We have mostly come, but also to a decision.
You've come. I have come.
What if the freeway is all?
In a three-way, it's triple gay.
What are you gay?
All right. Anyway, we are filibustering. Let's move on. I guess.
Nobody's stopping you from moving on. You are the one that's just not.
Yeah, I'm ready.
Get over it.
I'm
Holy
ready.
shit, grow up.
I'm formulating the movement of the legs. I'm walking. I'm walking here. Yeah. How are we doing this? Who's speaking?
You can speak.
Oh, okay. I kind of threw myself into that one, didn't I?
Yeah.
All right. Okay.
If you want, I'll figure out a quick way to get text to speech to working. Give me like 10 minutes, and then we'll have text to speech.
No, I'm sure they're all quivering with anticipation and everything. So
Just vibrating.
yeah. Right then. Right. Okay. Okay. In fourth place, last but not least, is Mr. Midnight. We did enjoy your stuff, but as we're going through, well, yeah, I'll say. We did judge in bits. It was very close, but we got you in fourth, unfortunately. But it's all right. I say you still got to the second round, and yeah, very much enjoyed your submissions.
Yeah, I mean, basically, keep in mind.
A big
fourth
thing
place,
to.
but of the second round, obviously. So getting here in the first place is actually.
I mean, I think the main thing as well that there's a good a good pat on the back from Mr. Midnight as well is that he's got the most votes on the voting. So clearly, a lot of people liked his initial submission as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Right, so yeah, so the next one was it's really difficult actually. A lot of deliberation went into this one, but yeah, so in third place we've got Theodore and Otto de Terrace.
Why am I getting passed on to?
Yeah, you are. Yeah,
Am I doing the big shot?
yeah.
I understand.
Yeah. Well, like I say, yeah. Once again, really liked your stuff.
Yeah,
it was tough. It was tough deciding.
Second and third place were
Yeah,
really close.
it was real spicy. But yeah, actually, I think as our gracious host, we're gonna announce first place next, obviously, because you got to do first and second like this. So, if you would do the honors, guys, the winner of the VA competition is.
As soon as you say it, I will click it. Don't worry.
No, you first click.
No, you got to click it. That's
You first click
Okay.
it.
That was the whole idea.
All right.
Just
Drum
click
roll.
the damn thing. I've got noise cancellation on. You're not going to be able to hear it. I'm drum rolling in my head.
There we go. Drum roll.
Yeah.
That's just me smacking my head on my desk.
Oh, amazing. EurasianRob, your winner. First place. And obviously, Mangoci, second place. Very, very nice stuff from all of you.
Now Rob knows why we were climaxing.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Would you like to maybe add some more explanation as to why we came to the conclusion that we came to?
Well,
No?
I mean,
Okay, fine. I will end this
there's
thing. Goodbye.
Okay, yeah. Oh dear. Yeah. Yeah. No, to be honest, like we kind of had like a long deliberation, and you know, re-listening to some bits and discussing what was going on, what have you. And to be honest, Rob was just the most submissive and breedable. That's the end of it, really. What more can I say? That's just...
You're literally etching to see that, weren't you? Yeah.
Oh,
We go.
this may be one of First Guys' most cursed pods. I can't exactly claim that entirely myself, but still. Brilliant. Well, I hope you enjoy your trophy. I'm going to DM it to you directly as well. You can display it proudly on your desktop.
Your wallpaper.
I made it specifically for you, so I hope you do enjoy it. There you go.
And if you're wondering about so res, then I can assure you that was by design.
Yeah.
Literally everything here is by design, by the way, just to be clear.
Oh yeah, just it is not the Sky just being bad at streaming. It's in a really awkward spot on the stream, entirely by design.
Like literally, I don't do bad stream things. I'm very much OCD with that stuff. So
We're making it all scuffed on purpose.
To be fair, we made it scuffed because Rob's name is scuffed. I mean, like, why would you name yourself EurasianRob? That is just inherently scuffed.
I feel like Rob's gonna both hate and love us after this.
I'd just like to inform you guys and the rest of the stream that Rob has personally thanked me for his trophy and pinned it in our DMs, so... Oh, there we go. Lovely. What a wonderful end.
Speaking of end, anything else you want to add?
Well,
because
no, I think I'm about ready to finish. Honestly, I've been really going at it this entire stream.
If you're one of the top winners, make sure to bother Egg for your money.
Yeah. Oh no.
Maybe
his DMs of a baseball bat.
If you don't get the money,
credit card debt.
Make sure you beg him for some money.
Make sure you rob him of his money.
I would. I know we said various ways you could receive it, but honestly, if I could give it to you via PayPal, that would make my life much easier. If that isn't an option, I understand, but if you can make that an option, I would be a happy egg. So
just one happy egg.
Will Rob change his name to Pound Asian Rob then? Because you're gonna pay him in pounds, right? Or maybe dollar Asian?
Pound Asian. Pound Asian. Pound Asian.
You're so welcome.
Dollar store Asian.
Wish.com. Anyway.
Oh
no.
Should we head out?
CSR's made a good point. They're gonna rob.
A wise choice.
Well, I mean,
you gotta get your cut. You did a lot of work.
Yeah, they have been particularly fundamental in all that post-production. That's very good.
All right, I think it's time to leave.
Yeah. Well.
Actually, hold important. Let's see. What do we have?
Oh no.
Also, this point don't need to be mentioned. I'm sure probably.
I have to unscam real quick.
But yeah. Thanks. But
it's a long overdue.
if you guys still haven't like loads guided, you probably could.
Yeah.
It's just.
So basically, for those of you that are here because you know Skydus, maybe join Terra's Discord. You know, the Nest of Horrors. You've seen the command. I'm sure there will be other interesting competitions in the future, or just other interesting things going on there, aside from their lore. you know the stories if you would like to find out more about the crackhead. Yeah, and for those of you that don't know me, hi, I'm Skytus. And that's about all you need to know.
Wow. How detailed.
Yeah, I usually stream every Monday and Saturday here. I do casual game playthroughs. I Left 4 Dead 2 speedrun. And I read the Bible with Terrace. There was a subscriber.
Yes.
And I'm not kidding. We literally read the Bible.
Oh.
And you might
see,
be very...
there you go, Skydies. You got your cut.
Yeah, that's very good. And you might be confused, why would you read the Bible? And I will just tell you this. It's funny. I promise. That's all you need to know.
It's funny for all the wrong reasons you might be thinking.
Yeah, basically, you have... If you're planning to join our Bible readings, you have no idea what you're getting yourself into. Because it is just impossible to... Anyway, that's all you need to know about me. And Egg exists. I don't know.
I've distributed the prize to Rob. Mangoci and Theodore, please message me, give details, and I will send you money.
Currency can be exchanged.
It sure can.
Yeah, thanks for the cut, Rob. I made sure that you were in first place, so I think it's only fair that you give me a cut.
Yeah, he doesn't give yourself.
Yeah,
Nice job.
exactly. That's the very least, because I basically just made him richer than the others. So yeah, I think it's only fair that I get a share.
Richard. What his name was Rob.
No, he's a dick. Get it? Because Richard.
The sigh isn't.
I know. That's what makes it so good. Ah, yes. By the way, this is Bible related in case you didn't know the foreskin part. And yeah, we'll just leave it at that. We're gonna raid someone. I'm hungry. I'm Skytus.
I'm Skytus. I'm Egg. Eggant.
I mean, you can buy me off, but the price is relatively high. I do have quite a lot of respect for Terrace, so... I mean, if it was just with Egg, the price would have been very...
Wow!
Yeah,
Inaccurate.
I will be streaming again tomorrow, because tomorrow's the Monday, as I said. Tomorrow evening, European time.
Evening.
I will be playing Return to Monkey Island.
Evening.
Terrace is now stuck. So yeah, if you're interested in the new Monkey Island, I will be doing that. Otherwise, don't. I don't know, just go do something better with your time than watching streams on Twitch. Honestly, just be productive. Work on your voice acting skills. Work on something else. Make money.
Billy Skytus is my Discord.
Find happiness. I mean, I found a way to get happiness, which is bullying Terrace. That's a different story.
I'm here against my will.
Whose will? You mean Will just digging? Anyways, we're rating for Will Take. He's a Left 4 Dead 2 speedrunner. And that's it.